Welcome. So there I was. I was in Virginia, actually West Virginia, near the Monongahela National Forest on the Greenbrier River. And the BFRO, the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, was doing a massive Bigfoot search there, an expedition. And I had already been one 2 years prior, sort of as a lark, but I had realized that these Bigfoot believers were somebody to study, almost seemed to mirror the belief systems, radicalization, right? This naked belief that a lot of people that had gone nuts really sort of mirrored. It seemed a little bit more benign, but it was something to actually do. And also it was sort of fun, right? To mess with these individuals and maybe on the possible bizarre place, maybe you never know. Maybe there was something out there. Of course not. So there I was, and I had people who were from the West Coast on the East Coast for the first time. So it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was there going with the expeditions, and we had a person there who was really good at Bigfoot calls. At least he said he was. And so he lets a couple of Bigfoot calls go out. Now you got to remember the Monongahela, almost 1 million acres, very wild. West Virginia is probably the wildest place on the East Coast, especially in the central portion. Still losing population, beautiful, massive mountains, valleys, almost wilderness areas. So he lets out this massive call. There's 4 or 5 people there, and up to our right, about 20 yards, there's a snort. Immediately, the people who had never been to the East Coast turned to the Bigfoot screamer. Like, my God, Bigfoot's here. And even the Bigfoot screamer goes, "This is a noise we cannot explain." So I'm sitting there in this group. I did laugh. I said, that is what we call here on the East Coast a white-tailed deer. Now, this very specific true story, and by the way, it was even more absurd. I mean, I argued with a couple people who said, well, it's obviously Bigfoot, you're a skeptic. And I want to tell people that if you hear a noise in the woods, it's usually something that lives in the woods. And it's probably something that's real. If you're in the woods and the first thing you hear is Bigfoot, if you hear a scuffle in the leaves, if you hear a knock on wood, if you hear some kind of howl or an animal noise, if you feel a creepy feeling, it's usually something explainable because that's how reality works. If you hear a snort in a farmyard, it's not a unicorn. If you hear the rush of wings above you, it's not a thunderbird or a pterodactyl. It's what's here. It's what's proven. It's what's scientifically based. So when you hear Kash Patel from the FBI and come out and say that January 6th they found these secret files, or that they can prove that 2020 was a stolen election, that's a Bigfoot. It's not a deer in the woods. The sound you hear in the woods isn't Bigfoot, it's a white-tailed deer. January 6th wasn't a day of peace, it was a fucking coup. When you have a coup attempt like that, and you have something happening like that, and you have this vast disinformation complex, it's easy to get exhausted because it's gaslighting. This administration is about gaslighting. I was talking to somebody today, Reagan Republican, absolutely now not a Republican. And he said the same thing I did. He goes, how do I leave a party that left me? I mean, it's ludicrous now. It's not based on states' rights or limited government or lack of bureaucracy. It's big government overreach. Part of that example was the resignation of the University of Virginia President Jim Ryan, who I know personally. It's as if Republicans have forgotten what federalism is, yet they still troll on X, Twitter, whatever. Copy what Harmeet Dillon says or Pam Bondi. People that could, I think, 30 years ago, maybe adjudicated as clinically insane. There's credulity, there's sycophancy, there's magical belief. And what we have now is a government run on magical belief. Everybody says, a clock is right twice a day. We'll go back to Iran or other things. But what the press isn't reporting is the GDP dropping significantly, or the fact that our economy is in doldrums, or that we're not respected around the world, that Trump's a bit of a laughing stock. But it depends on the news you watch. Just on ABC the other day, they presented RFK Jr.'s anti vaccine lunacy as changing the schedule of vaccines. There's a new way of doing vaccines that's coming based on HHS. Not that there's a fucking lunatic out there who thinks that 5G causes ear leakage, making decisions on vaccines. A noted mad anti-vaxxer. Somebody mad, insane, crazy. There's a lack of specific language on what's happening. It's not a Bigfoot. It's a fucking deer. And echo chambers make you believe it's a Bigfoot. Now, there's going to be Bigfoot believers. And I've heard the same old song and dance, or believers in alien abductions, or flat earthers, or 9/11 conspiracy theorists. And it goes from the benign to the dangerous when you're getting to, those who believe that the deep state or globalists are controlling us, like January 6th, and there's violence. But if you can't determine the difference between reality and fantasy, you shouldn't be making policy decisions. If you believe that 9/11 was an inside job, you're not coming in my house anymore. I can't do it. I'm done. I'm done trying to humor the idiots of this world. And regardless, I know what the facts and data of January 6th say. We can look at intelligence for Iran. We can say something's tactically significant without without meeting a strategic objective. We're allowed to have nuance, and I'm going to continue to have nuance and speak facts and truth. So I'm sitting around the campfire and we're talking Bigfoot, and lady looked at me and wanted to hear my ideas on baiting Bigfoot. I'd rather just wear a bacon necklace and run through the woods, right? So, everybody likes peanut butter and jelly. And I remember this lady losing her mind, saying that, how dare I say that, because Bigfoot obviously has a gluten allergy, because primates are allergic to gluten. Well, how do you know he's a primate? I thought he was descended from man. I mean, is he descended from Homo erectus or Gigantopithecus blacki? Come on. Well, obviously we have to be safe. That's what she said. Now I have people making scientific decisions based on fantasy. Their scientific decisions aren't scientific. They're based on belief. They're based on this leap of logic from something totally inane, something that cannot be proven, and it never will be because it's not there. Something so insane, something so out of bounds, and she's making a scientific, almost like a hypothesis, a theorem, based on jello and mud. It's just impossible. So what I'm telling everybody is this. My God, the Mike Pence fly just flew on my mic. Facts are facts. Data is data. What's happening is what's happening. Occam's razor is right. Stop humoring the dum-dums. Don't have to. Because if you're in the woods late at night and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you hear a noise or a screech or a howl or a crack or a drop, leaves, the howling of wind, right? A low moan. It ain't Bigfoot. It's either an animal, your imagination, or somebody else fucking with you in the woods. Thank you. That's Denver After Dark. Let's make sure that facts are there. Don't humor the idiots. It's going to get worse before it gets worse. Damn the Mike Pence fly. And we have to ensure that we're here to protect this country when we get a chance to. Thank you all.